Subject line. This is a hard one. I recommend don't start with the subject line, do that at the end. But you want it to be something noticeable. You want to get someone's attention. So the subject line, hi, unless you're my mom, is a terrible subject line. You want it to be informative. You want to let people know what you're writing about, especially if it's a cold pitch, especially if it's someone you don't have a relationship with. But even if it is, if you email me something to talk with you about, I might be like, is she okay? I might get worried. But if you email me and say blog interview, please, happy face, because I know you. Oh, okay, that's what she wants, great. I want to read more information. So don't be afraid to let people know what you're doing, right? Also, here's the thing. If you're pitching someone, let's say a wholesale account for your jewelry, they are used to these pitches. You don't need to trick them into opening your email, right? You don't need to be like, well, they're not going to open it if they know. They want people to sell good work in their store. That's how they make their money. So don't forget that too, that you're delivering value to this person. People who I have on my podcast, it's a good outlet for them to talk about their projects. It also is pretty fun and pretty fun to talk to, right? So that's a good time. Do your homework, do your homework, do your homework, do your homework, do your homework. Unless you are pitching someone who is not on the internet at all, there is information to be found. I promise. So this is where Google or your search engine of choice is going to be your best friend. It might feel a little creepy. I don't know, that feels creepy, right? Do your homework, because that's going to show that you know what you're talking about. And a great way to get confidence is to prepare, right? And to know, there's that website called Wayback Archive. Have you guys done that, where you can put in a web address and it'll show you the 5 years ago iteration of it? You can do it for mine. It's hilarious. If you're pitching a design client, right, and you want to design a website for someone and you're putting together the proposal, go look at what their website was 5 years ago. Look at how it's gotten better in that time and look at how you can make it even better, right? That is going to be so interesting for me to hear you say, well, I know that you changed this and this and this, but what about this? Here's my idea. Here's how we take it to the next level. Okay, right? You're going the extra mile. And this is not just, you can't obviously say all this in the subject line, but this is going to permeate. And I'm going to show you an example of this in a minute. So if you're sending multiple pitches, right, sometimes we do that, right? I go through I do batch pitching for my podcast. And you're forwarding, take out the forward, take out the words, literally FWD or RE. Yes, people know that you're probably sending the same pitch, but don't take it out, right? Be a little bit thoughtful about that. That's just a little nitpicky thing. The other thing about while we're on the topic of forwarding, if you guys use Gmail, which I highly recommend it because it's magic, sometimes when you forward in Gmail and then change part of the text, the part that you changed shows up as a different color, which is funny to get because you're like, oh. I mean, you get it, but you're like, okay. So I recommend instead of forwarding, you can either use Gmail canned responses, which is a great feature that we don't have time to talk about, but Google it. It's amazing. It will change your life. Or that you just copy and paste it. If you copy and paste it, be aware that you don't write. I've done that where you send in the resume and the cover letter has the other person's for the other, and then you're like, I'm never getting that job. I might as well just cross that one off the list, right? And you're like, oh. So if you copy and paste, just make sure that you are knowing what information to change. And that's just a nitpicky thing, but that's something someone notices because it's a human being on the other end of the email.